Hey everyone, Ghost Prime back here. So a while back I made a video, KO Bloated Fist Optimus Prime guide. This is an update to that video. I actually have in hand a KO Optimus Prime. This is the black version, but it's exactly the same as the red and gray versions that you could find all over eBay of the Generation 1 Optimus Prime. This video I'm going to go over some of the things that's how you could tell, like the box, by looking at a picture of what the differences are between a Generation 1 original and this KO. There's actually a lot of differences. It's one of the things I wasn't able to do is compare them directly in my last video, so this is an update to that video. And I'll be comparing some of the actual toy to a Generation 1 vintage original, so you have a good idea of what you're buying. Now, of course, on eBay, these are like 50 bucks, $45. You can even maybe able to find them for 35. They come in a variety of colors. You're not going to get a vintage sealed Optimus Prime for $35, $40. It's just not going to happen. So, you know what you're going to get. But maybe you're out and about, you're in a toy shop somewhere, and you don't know exactly how to spot a KO Prime from an original. You know, you just don't know. So, this is what this video is about. Just to show you some of the ways you could spot it just by looking at it, even the toy. So, without any further ado, let's get to the review. And let's take a look at the packaging real quick. So this is the KO box. So the first thing you'll notice right off the bat, as I said in my last video, if you want to check that out, I have that link down in the description below. This bar right here is not present on the original. It actually cuts off here. The F should be over here more. But there's also a little bit more tells than that. The quality of the box. So it's on this like, it's a real shiny, real kind of smooth. You could tell by feeling it. It doesn't feel like an original box. It doesn't feel like it's really almost plasticky feeling. If you get in real close, see if I get the light not to reflect. You see how reflective it is. Like right here on Prime, it's the colors. They're kind of they bleed a bit, and they're just not as sharp. On the top is a really big way to tell. If you notice it just looks like a cutout. It's a poorly photoshopped, it looks like maybe they took a picture and then they printed that picture because it's a low resolution image. This is not blue, it's black, and it's oversaturated. The detail's missing on all of these. It's not very good. That's another way you could tell. And the same goes for this side. Now this side's a little better, but this picture on the side here, same sort of like washed out sort of oversaturated color. On the back, as I mentioned before, you could one of the tells is Ravage is cut off. He is not on the original. And again, it has this weird, it's different. It doesn't look as clean and crisp. Now, if you looked at this image as much as I did as a child, you could look at this and you could kind of tell, well, maybe there's something wrong with it. Something that's in this good of shape for an original would not have this kind of coloration to it. But otherwise, it's really, really, really similar to the original. Now, the original I do have is, the box is a little beat up, which I did show in my last video, which is the Bloated Fist. But as you can see, let's look at the Transformers right here. See the F? This is the same for all of them. So the F is kind of right there in line with the bottom of the A. Whereas you can see on the KO, the F is in line with the R. So that is one way. That's actually a huge way to tell. If you look at the top, the pictures aren't as washed out. It's nice, clean images. The blue, you can actually tell it's blue. It's not black. So, you know, that's definitely that way. Again, this is the gray border stops here and continues over here. And on the back, you do see the head and the color, all the detail is there. Let's see if I can actually get this on camera. If I get the Prime head and the light there. You see the highlights are really nice. This is more of a, it's subdued, it's dark. It doesn't come out as much as this one does. And that's the same for the rest of the image. So you could kind of see how the differences are. And you could really tell. In person, you could really, really tell. The feeling of the original cardboard is, well, it feels like that. It feels more cardboardy as to where this one feels plastic, like plastic. And the same sort of situation on Prime here, where this is all very purple. That's nice. That's a blue. The highlights show through. The darks show through really well. So that's one way you can very much tell. Also, the gray borders, it's still there, but you can see it better here. That doesn't pick up on camera as well. So that's how you can instantly tell for the box in a shop or somewhere else, just by looking at it, that, hey, that's a KO. Someone may not know. It may not be the fault of the seller either. I've come across that multiple times. So be nice to them. Don't just accuse them right away. They may not know what they have. Give them some pointers. What I have found is most of them are pretty bummed to find out they have a KO, especially if they pay a lot of money for it. They got duped originally, and then they're just duping somebody else, and that chain goes on. So it's good just to break the chain. That's the only thing really wrong with having a KO that looks like the original. So let's get this thing out of the package. I did already cut the tape. I guess one more thing I should note is the tape is really a lot thicker than on the Generation 1 on the side of the package. That's another way to tell. So now getting him out of the package. He does come in styrofoam container. One thing you'll notice right off the bat is there's no silver stripe. Now, Optimus Prime had a silver stripe, factory applied, right here on the cab. So what comes in this is the sticker sheet. You'll see the silver stripe. You'll also see a rub sign right there. So here's the package you get, the stickers. You get a decoder. The stickers look pretty legit, actually. I'm not sure how to check those, so I'd be wary of a vintage sticker sheet for Optimus Prime. You get a bag full of the accessories. Let's open this up. Now this is with a sticky side there. You get his fist in here, but I have previously removed the fists. And then put them back. So they actually come on this little sprue here. And here are the fists. There's a way to tell on these fists if you're buying on the secondary market. Let me show you real quick. So here we have an original bloated fist from the bloated Optimus Prime. Now the KO comes with bloated fists as well. Now expect these to be blue on the one you may be buying if you're not buying the black version. But you could tell the sculpt work is vastly different. The fingers actually turn around and go in. These are just flat. And it's a different shape on the back too. So this is one way you could really tell the KO from the original. He comes with a bloated gun. Now this is of course in reference to a thicker gun than the later releases of Optimus Prime. Here is a vintage one. And you can see some of the same kind of cheap sculpting work. So the vintage one has much more like cleaner lines in there, where these are straight and angled. This is kind of a rounded piece. They actually don't look the same. They could be hard to tell if you don't know, but they don't quite look the same. This piece right here on the KO is a huge tell. You could tell, you can see the comparison right there, but the original and the KO. Of course, he does come with a full set of missiles. He does have this little piece here from the welder. He has the tube and the actual welding nozzle. Then you have the wheels to roller. Now one of the things for this, and I have the bloated one. This is not based off the bloated. This is based off the original. It is longer. This is not as long, so it's really difficult to tell. This has some of the same sort of detailing that just looks flat detailing that the other ones don't have, the originals don't have. So that would be one of the ways to tell. It's very hard with these, so be careful. And of course you do have roller. This one's done up in black. The blue on the blue one is a different color. It is much darker than the vintage, so that's something to look out for. Finally, we have Prime. Now, he is very difficult to get out of this styrofoam. It is stuck, and it takes me a while to do. So I will be right back. Okay, now that I have them out of the box here, one of the things on mine, this piece, the metal front piece, which is still metal on the KO, does not actually sit well. It's this piece, the plastic is too big. I'm not sure if it's really that way on just mine or all of them, but that is something to note. The tires are rubber. They feel more plasticky than a Generation 1. They don't have that rubber feel. They feel like a smooth plastic. But it does have the sticker here. Now the sticker is different than the vintage original. This piece right here is thicker in the back. It's much thinner on the original. The color is a little different. This one's actually not applied super well, but the one on the other side is. So that's another way to tell. This little piece right here, if I could get in there, that piece right, this design here at the circle, this line is much closer to the curve here on the original. Although that's a little harder to tell if you don't have something to directly compare it to. So, the trailer. Let's look at the trailer first. The trailer has pretty much everything the same as of course it would be gray and blue, as the original T2 trailer. Let's see if I can get directly in on that. So one of the things that you could look at on an original Prime is this here part right there. I'm gonna see if I can get that in focus. If you look in there, that says T2. Now that means this was based off the T2. And here's the copyright. It says made in Japan, but this is actually made in China. Hasbro is blocked out. So this, you could tell, is a little different. Now this is not a T2. On the original T2 trailer, this will have a very similar copyright. That's what they're trying to copy. There's also T3, T4, and they have a bunch of numbers that match on the inside that this one does not have. This doesn't have any matching numbers on any of the inside pieces. So there would be on the door here would be matching numbers, would be a 2. You can see all the parts would have a corresponding number. But if you look, it opens up just like the original. Exactly like the original. So you really got to be careful in buying these out of the package. Let's take a look at the Optimus Prime figure itself. Take a close look at this Optimus Prime figure now. Again, imagine it in red and blue. Really nice and shiny chrome. I mean, you could just really see it reflect. It's actually quite nice. These here are complete and flat and round. That's not like the vintage. But otherwise, it's pretty close. Like I said, mine won't close all the way up here. Also, he does not have a screw hole right there. So that's a key point in all the KOs. Another thing I want to look at, so we all know how he transforms. Inside the leg here, he is based off the G2 model. So you see inside the leg is hollow. The inside the leg is not hollow on the Hasbro reissues, Takara reissues, or the vintage. Here's the vintage Prime. You can see not completely hollow, does have a piece here. The later ones have another piece here. So that is one of the ways you could tell. Let's just get him transformed. Transforms the same, and actually it's a really smooth transformation. Any problems transforming this guy. It is pretty quality, it feels nice and smooth. But it's not without its issues. Some of the issues I have are the fists will not stay in. That is very annoying. I confirmed that with somebody else who has a red one. Exactly the same. The fists do not fit in. Very irritating. This is the original bloated gun. Also, super loose in the fists. So they just don't fit. The original fist will also not fit in here. It's much too loose. So you do have that. Now there are some also minor differences. Let me show you what I meant about the bumper. How this one has 2 little bumps. This one's just a completely flat piece. Otherwise, it is very difficult to tell. They are incredibly similar and sort of in every in every way. Very, very similar. This one leans back a little bit because he's the bloated fist version, but you could tell just how, just how similar these are. So it's actually much more difficult to tell the KO. Like I said, you could try to look inside the leg here, and that's a sure sign of a KO for this guy. Definitely something you should look into. Take a look at the original booklet here. This is the original booklet from Optimus Prime, the 1984 version, vintage. And here is the KO. It's kind of hard to show up on camera, but the KO, it feels different. The black is almost a gray. You kind of see that on camera. Again, with the kind of washed out colors, although it is much, much closer. It has an orangey sort of sunburst in the back instead of a nice yellow one. Actually, kind of a better print for the grid lines, though. So this is actually, this booklet is based off of this one. If I get this direct page here, so we can see this. There we go. So we can see they are incredibly similar. Like, honestly, it's so close that it is kind of scary. But this is crisp and new, and as you can see, it's not a mess. This is gonna be a kind of a bear to fold back because it was folded around in the box for so long. Now here is the knockoff sticker sheet. It's hard to tell that this is a knockoff. I don't have an original vintage one to compare to, but I would be very careful. Be very careful about, it's even on the yellow paper, so be very careful about sticker sheets. It looks pretty good. I think that some of these stickers here are not as clear, actually showing up much clearer on camera than it actually is in real life. But some of the backing is very dark, which is not like the original. So just a real quick look here at the roller, and let's see how it launches with the little button. Pretty well. It's super strong. Also, speaking of launchers, the missile. Click that in there, and it launches all right. It's not too terrible. I do have a problem with this one. I kind of trying to get it in there. It just doesn't want to stick. There it goes. And it looks like it's just harder. This one fits really, really nicely. The other one does not. These are exactly the same size as the, see if I get it in focus. Exactly the same size as the silver ones on the Bloated Fist Prime. But I did ask to see if these, the black ones on I think it was a T4 Prime or something, fit into this, and they did not. So the black ones may not fit. However, you really have to be careful when looking on eBay because they look exactly like the black ones. They're really no different. So if you're trying to find them and you get them, they might not fit. It's hard to tell if this is vintage or a KO. This is one of those pieces where you really have to look out. Lastly, I just want to go over the trailer really, really fast. The Diaclone cockpit still opens, still extends. Actually, it's really nice. It's got some nice hinges on it. All the detail is there from the original. Of course, I have the silver one because this is a Bloated Fist and this has metal plates. But there is, I get to stick it in my hand. I mean, you can hear that. It just sounds, here's a vintage. This closes super nice, super nice. And then you can hear this. And it's not that great. My door hinges are broken off on my original, but they are the same size. As you can see what I was talking about with the sticker here, how it is a different color. This is a darker blue, but you can see how it has thin here and thick there. Otherwise, I mean, they're pretty similar. There's a few little other differences, but some of those are due to this being Bloated Fist and this being based off the T2. But you could really tell by the feel of these, this is definitely not the quality of plastic just isn't as good. So I hope you guys learn something from this video and know how to spot a KO over a vintage original. They're actually pretty good quality. This one, I picked up the black one because there's a Repo Labels set that I've always wanted to turn them into the Scourge or Nemesis Prime. Quality's not too shabby. Got to do something about the hands. But overall, they're a great gift. They're great to pick up if you want something just to play with that's not a vintage original, or a gift like to give to somebody, a kid, or just something to have this experience of a G1 Prime. The fist falling out, I'm not sure if floor polish will work, but there's got to be something. Maybe wrap a little piece of sticker paper around it. I don't know, but this one will be getting the Scourge Nemesis Prime treatment, and couldn't be happier with it. So please hit that thumbs up button if you like this video. Hit the thumbs down button if you have to. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.